Hi, everybody. This is the parent info meeting, now recording because of all of the craziness with the building. I apologize again that we had to reschedule and then cancel our open house that would have happened in a normal year, non-construction, non-COVID. We would have had a nice open house where you can come rent instruments and all of those things. So this meeting is what would have happened at that open house. We would talk about all the things just incoming parents and new old parents need to know just for the upcoming year. We'll obviously hit on some COVID things and a bunch else. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and just kind of walk you through everything. Please take time. I don't care if you watch this on 2-speed, but please take time to watch the video so you know all of this information going into this year, because it's going to be one for the record books. And I'm just so excited. By the way, well, let's just jump in and we'll do what we would normally do. Okie doke. Almost there. Thinking about it. Okay, so at this point, you should be seeing my screen. I'm going to go ahead and take you through the PowerPoint that I had prepared. So normally we would have a chance for everybody to socialize at the beginning, and then we jump in. Just in case you're new to the program and you want to know a little bit about me, my name is Miss Mortensen. The kids often call me Mort. I'm totally okay if you call me Mort as well. I am U of U alumni, go Utes. My primary instruments are flute, but I also play a lot of saxophone and tuba in my experience. But again, as an educator, we're trained on all instruments, but those are just my primary instruments. I marched with Blue Knights Drum and Bugle Corps. I like to tell the kids stories about that experience. I'm a big Harry Potter and Star Wars nerd. Love all of the nerdy things Harry Potter and Star Wars related. I love to run. I completed a marathon this summer, so I like to talk to the kids about that type of stuff. I love hiking. I'm a coffee fiend. Parents, you'll find this out very fast. You often will see me with a coffee in my hand. I always joke that that's what the band program runs on, and apparently so does my dog, Cat. And then just introducing my family. You'll see them around from time to time. My fiance, Richard. We actually should be husband and wife by now, but we postponed our wedding due to COVID and are planning for next summer. So he'll be around. Again, his name's Richard, or sometimes the kids call him Mr. Mortensen, which is hilarious. And then our 2 dogs, this is Denali. And then Katmai, she's a new addition. I got her last spring during all the COVID quarantine stuff. And as you can see, she really likes her Starbucks too. So again, parents, we are a community here. I will get to know many of you very well, and I just appreciate every single one of you. Moving on, I always like to talk about at the beginning of every year of why music in schools. I know that you know at this point, having gone through middle school at the very least, that music is important, but it really does so much for our students. It develops the language and reasoning centers in the brain. It really, students who are music students, you notice that they have abilities in that area a lot more than their peers typically. One of my personal favorites, they learn how to self-analyze and improve their work without maybe sometimes a grade attached to it. A lot of what we do in our music classes is not attached to a grade, but it's just working to get better for the sake of getting better. My personal 2 cents is that's one of the biggest skills you can take away and take into life to be successful. Increased coordination, especially now with the addition of the marching band. Students are learning how to use their bodies in ways that they've never maybe been expected to before, and it really helps develop their brain as well. It's shown that students have better ACT and SAT scores statistically. If you'd ever want any of these statistics, I have a bunch of studies I keep in a folder. I'm not going to bore you with all the details though. More empathetic and emotionally healthy. That's been a big push in our communities lately, is trying to figure out how to keep students mentally and emotionally healthy and more in touch with that side of their brain. And music, as we all know, develops those sides of the brain dramatically. And we're super fortunate that we get to do so many things and get that benefit. It develops their teamwork skills. There's nothing like having 50 plus kids on stage and trying to get them all to do the same thing. Parents, at this point, you've watched them go from middle school, which I'll be honest, trying to conduct a middle school band is like driving a bus where all the wheels are falling off in different directions. So where we get them from that first 6th grade concert all the way to their senior year is pretty dramatic, and it comes with a lot of teamwork skills. And studies show that students who grew up in band and orchestra and these other performing ensembles really develop those higher than most of their peers. It teaches discipline. We all know that there's a lot of distractions and a lot of ways for kids to spend their times these days, and a lot of immediate response. I'm trying to find the right word, sorry. Basically, there are a lot of things that give them an immediate satisfaction. We have the internet at our fingertips, and music isn't one of those things. It really teaches you to be patient and develop a craft slowly over time. And sometimes, that can be frustrating for kids. And please, parents, if anything, I'm begging you, please let your kids get frustrated. It's a important skill they develop. And that kind of brings me into my last thing, which is responsible risk taking. I think my personal 2 cents is that in a lot of our education systems now, there are not a lot of places, just in your average Joe class, where kids are taking risks that that happen in front of their peers and things like that. And I personally believe music and these types of activities are a place where they can take risks. They might play in front of the class and biff it big time in front of everybody. And it's a skill just like anything else. And it's an important one for them to learn. And they gain so much confidence when they go from maybe failing at times to improving and getting better, and then having the ability to do the thing that they maybe couldn't do not that long ago. I think it's something as adults we don't develop enough either. So please, parents, allow your kids to get frustrated, talk them through that process, help them see that it's not a game changer. It's not going to be the end of the world. And I promise you'll see them flourish. It's one of my favorite parts of what I do. Yes, music is amazing, but watching the kids develop life skills through music is my personal passion. So I'm happy to talk more philosophy with you, but that's kind of the brief summary. Just a quick summary on last year. Was an interesting one. Again, one for the record books, but we grew our program numbers. It just continues to grow. We create healthy and productive environments in the instrumental music program. Our leadership is amazing. I really pride myself and ourself in the program on creating a great environment. I've had parents year after year come up and say, man, my kid is so happy and it's so great here. And I don't think they get this everywhere else, and high school is hard. So having a place where we create, and I'm very passionate about creating a healthy culture for your students. That's our end all goal. Our ensembles qualified for state. Now, keep in mind, our year was really cut short. So jazz band qualified with flying colors. There were literally kids like throwing roses at the stage. Just kidding, but it was close. We were really proud of the jazz band at Region. And then, of course, COVID hit and we didn't get the chance to perform. But I am very confident that all of our groups would have qualified and done really quite well at what we did. So, and I just want to also commend that we were able to still have a lot of quality, even in the online chaos that was the end of last school year. We created memories in our old space. As you probably know, the old building, the old Brighton Performing Arts Wing is gone. And then we moved to a temporary space that we were in for a few months. And now we get to have a brand new space. We started our marching band that got approved last year, and we actually added an orchestra teacher. So you will see Mrs. Gonzalez wandering around this year. I am now band only. And then we grew our booster program. I think that was one of the areas that I've seen the most improvement and the most growth is parental involvement and investment. And I would love to see that continue. If nothing else, I can't do it alone, everybody. I need your help. And then we made music, even when we lost and even when life was tough, even when we lost the ability to do it in person. My original plan was to show the video that Symphonic Band made with Shenandoah last year. The students haven't even seen that yet. I'll be showing them that in class for the next couple of, like the next week or so. And then I'll post it on Canvas. But I want them to be the first ones to really see that, because it was a very meaningful product. And if you got to see graduation, I guess you did see it. But anyway, we made music even when life was tough. We made connections even when life was tough. And that was my end goal at the end of last year. This year's goals, I want to continue to give your students a meaningful and memorable experience. Again, I want kids to walk away from high school with skills and with an incredible love of music, and friends that will last a lifetime. I want to continue to grow our program as always. Every year we get a little bit bigger and we have a lot more quality, and I just want to keep that going. Again, one of my big goals this year is keep getting boosters to be involved and independent, continue to foster a healthy and productive music culture, continue to improve the quality of our ensembles. I've been I learned a lot of things while I was in quarantine for, in March. There's a lot of online seminars and things like that. And I have some new skills that I really am excited to share with your kids. Finalize and introduce new performance opportunities. That's like the marching band is one of those cool new things that we get to do. Continue to do that with our concert bands as well, and the jazz band. We did have a concert kind of tentatively planned with a professional jazz group in the area. That won't happen for the time being, but I'm hoping before the end of the year it's out, an opportunity for our kids. And then keep promoting and expanding our community culture. It's really grown a lot and very quickly in the last few years. People in the community seem to know who we are, and I want to keep that going because, that's how we get people to be involved in what we do and see the benefits of that your crazy, amazing kids get to be a part of. So moving on. So how we get there, so what we will do as instructors, spend hours and hours of time advocating for your students. I can't tell you how many times a day I go into Mr. Sherwood, our principal's office, and advocate for your kids, whether it be asking for something or just telling them about how great they are or whatever it is. We've got your back. I spend a lot of time asking others to help us make the program better. Provide your students with many, many resources, probably too many at times. I will admit I am a big fan of overloading with information as opposed to underloading. I apologize in advance, but please use them because a lot of their resources will help your students. Try to provide really productive and engaging rehearsals. I feel like the kids will joke, I'd never waste time. I'm not one to, give a lot of free time, but we also have a lot of fun in those rehearsals. Provide insight into how the programs work. I try to, I need to update this. Charms is now cut time, just an FYI. But we use the handbook and the website and now Canvas and all of these things to give you information. And that's primarily what today's video is for as well, on how things just work. I'm just going to Okay, good. I got paranoid there for a second. I am so sorry. I was like, oh, I hope I'm recording. You gotta love 2020. And then I want you to know I attend many clinics and many conferences to improve my teaching, musicianship, and research. I always want to bring the best to your kids. I probably overdo it at times where I need to be better about taking time for myself too, but I really am very passionate about what I do. Your students will have lots of kindness and enthusiasm. We'll have trips and vertical teaching that's happening. I'm proud to say that I'll be in the middle schools now, every other day at each middle school. So Butler one day and then I'll be in the next, and I will just be helping your middle school teachers and continue to grow what we do vertically. And again, keep bringing in clinicians and going on trips and have venues that we are playing in. Last year, we got to play at the University of Utah in this really cool festival, and that was really, really special. And I think the kids really enjoyed it. What I need from you, students and parents, enthusiasm. I try to show lots of it. So I'm one of those people who needs to see it back at me. So, try to reflect that. I always encourage the kids to, but of course, we want you to feel good about what you're doing. Responsibility, please just be on top of the stuff I'm going over today. I know that it's a lot of information and I know that it'll take some getting used to, especially parents. I understand a lot's being thrown at you right now, but just do your best to be responsible, know when concerts are, know where to find information or how to ask for it. I'll be honest, my inbox tends to fill up like crazy with questions that I answer in a lot of other places, and it really does help me if you know where to find that information on your own. Again, I'm not saying don't email me, just use your resources is what I'm asking. Hard work, especially for kids. I expect you guys to work hard. My students can all tell you that, but we also have tons of fun. And hard work does not necessarily mean a bad thing. You will end your high school experience with a lot more confidence and a lot more happiness and better skills if you put in the work now, I promise. Please trust that I'm trying to do the right thing for you and your students. Please feel free to speak up if you don't think that's the case or if there's a concern you have. I want to hear about it. I would much rather know directly than find out on the flip side of things like, rumors in the rumor mill or things like that. I just want to know what I can do to serve you and the community. And then commitment. Again, once you say you're going to do something, students, I need you to be ready to go for it. There will be times where you get frustrated. There will be times where it's hard, but then you push through those, and I promise it's worth it. And again, we're going to have a great year, guys. I'm super excited. Really quickly, I just want to go over COVID precautions. You can find this in your welcome email as well. Hand sanitizer will be available at the door and in several places in the room. Students will be asked to wear a mask at all times. We will have special student masks for the winds that they can play at the same time as they are wearing them. Those probably won't be here for a few more weeks because the district insisted on doing it for everybody after I did my research work. But anyway, it's fine. We'll have some specialized masks. Students who are flute players will be using shields and all of that great stuff. Keep in mind too, we'll be spread out and we have this big, beautiful new space. I'm super grateful that at least we get to have our new space. And we'll be able to use that. The auditorium won't be ready for a month or so, but it's coming and it will be gorgeous and lovely when we get to use it. Again, we'll provide every student who's a wind player with a mask and bell covers for the brass players. And again, flute players will get face shields. In rehearsal spaces, we'll try to maintain the distancing as much as possible. And again, just let me know if you have any of those concerns. Brass players will be provided a little cup that they can empty their spit into, or it's not really spit, it's condensation, but they will have that and they can even toss it out at the end of the day if they would like to. Orchestra and percussion students will wear their normal masks for the entirety of class and spread out as much as we can. And the nice thing is we also have a lot more keyboards and other equipment now for percussion than we have ever had in the past. So it should be easier to spread out this year. Percussion students will sanitize equipment by the end of rehearsal. Percussion students will provide their own drumsticks and marimba mallets. This is a requirement every year. I do have some that students are allowed to use. That being said, it is expected that students have the things on the class list, and we'll go through that. We will still be doing performances this year. It'll probably be live stream, or if we are lucky, it'll be a smaller capacity of parents allowed into the auditorium at one time. Once things kind of calm down after the first few weeks, I was actually going to send out a survey, and just honestly, I want to see how things go before I make a decision about that. So either live stream, or we'll record, or we'll have some sort of live performance that you can attend. We're still working on the details. We still plan to participate in UMEA festivals. The guidelines are being developed, so hopefully we'll know a little bit more. I encouraged and I asked the administration, and they'll be doing this, filtering the air faster in our room to allow it to get replaced. We're also going to try and limit our play time a little bit, so that way the air has time to circulate. And again, if you just ever find something that you're worried about in our classrooms, please let me and Mrs. Gonzalez know. Our job is to help everybody feel and stay safe, and we want to do that. We are really trying our best with the the information and the materials we've been given, but I always want to hear about if there's anything I can do to help keep your kids safe and healthy and happy. That's my goal. Okay, now time to get down to business. So the handbook is, for lack of a better term, the Bible of our band program. It gives you all the information you need to know, and it serves as my disclosure document. It is quite lengthy, but once you read it once, parents, it doesn't change much from year to year, and the policies tend to stay very similar and consistent. So if I do make any changes, I usually highlight them in bright yellow so that parents who are returning can go through it pretty quick. I'm going to briefly go through things in the handbook today, and some of these will include Cut Time, which is a server we use to track a lot of different things, Remind, our Google Calendar, and I'm actually going to skip the objectives today because that'll be on our next video about how to navigate things online, and then I'll talk a little bit about some of the other social media things we do. So let's jump over now to your Canvas page. You can find the handbook in many different places, including your welcome email, but it also is on your Canvas page. So again, the other video is about Canvas navigation, and that is more for your students. But if you parents want to watch it as well, it's never a bad idea to be informed. But each welcome page will look like this. It's got a link to our directors. It's got a link to the welcome email, and then the handbook. You can also see links to Cut Time, our calendar, and the band website, my contact information and office hours. These videos will be right here, and then I actually even have a calendar linked here as well. So again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the Canvas page. I just wanted to show you where you could access it. Again, wanted to go to the website, it's there, or on the email. Lots of different ways to access it this year. So we're going to jump over to the handbook assignment, and it's going to take us to a Google form. Parents, this will look a little bit different than it has in the past. I'm trying to limit paper waste and honestly contact this year in that way. So I made it a Google form instead of a page that you sign, but it's still just as much of a disclosure as it ever was. So I need you to make sure you and your students sit down and take time to look at this. Again, I apologize for the length, I really do, but it is super, super important. So I'm actually gonna have to, or will I have to? I don't know if I will because I'm actually in the, sorry. It'll look like this for you. So I'm gonna go ahead and pretend I am a person. Please put your real names, full names would be great. Whatever shows up on your roster, you can select as many classes as you are involved in, and then hit next. And then it'll take you to the handbook. Okay, parents, this is super important, again, that you read it. I know that it's a little small. That is why I've also provided a link, and that's what I'm gonna go to today. But your handbook assignment does have some questions in it, okay? So super important that you go over here and you look and see that, yes, I verify that I understand the communication methods. Yes, I have signed up for Cut Time, and the handbook explains how to do that. And you can do that right alongside filling out the handbook. I apologize, my dog is barking. Then you can also join our Facebook pages. Again, it's gonna ask questions after every major section. So just be aware of that if you are gonna go over to the Google Doc. Like you'll have to, verify with just initials that you understand the grading policy. I have some funny questions in there intended to be funny, and just a reminder for the kiddos, please let them answer it. But it's not intended to be snarky, so please don't read into it that way. I hope I could ease the pain of reading through probably more material than you would like. Again, you can see kind of the highlighted portions that are different for parents this year. Again, so you'll get all the way to the end, and then once you've read through and selected and done all of the right initials, you can verify that, yes, I parent. Please, again, parents, I know it's a long haul, and I know you have some incredibly responsible kids, but every year there's always one who say, you didn't ever say that, and I say, yes, I did. It's here in the handbook, and I said it in this email and that email and all these places. And I want y'all to be informed. So please take time to look through this and ask any questions if you have them. And then sign your name, and your students will be expected to do the same, because in the end, we want them to be the ones responsible for it. But I don't like parents getting caught off guard, especially when it is concerning your kids, because they're awesome. and then you'll hit submit. So again, I'm going to go now jump over to the actual document just so you can see it a little bit better. And I'm really quickly going to go through all the policies. Heck, if you want to keep watching this video and fill out your, that's silly. If you want to go through it as we go through this video, so that way you can talk it over with your kids and you don't have to read as much, I'm totally fine with that. And for some reason, this is not wanting to cooperate, which I will fix as soon as I am done. The annoying thing is I did check it. Computer, move faster. There we go. Okay. So really quickly, I have a welcome letter. It just talks about what we do here, but if you're watching this video, you probably don't need to read through all of that, but it just talks about how I want to run an excellent organization with amazing people and all of that. About the program, please take some time. This really gives you insight into what I value as an educator. Again, you can kind of just glance through it, but these are what we expect of your kids. We value, it's more than a class, and we value them as people, as citizens, and as musicians, and we want to make sure they understand the expectations. So I've outlined some of those for you. Really the top things being, be a great citizen. And I've given some examples of what that looks like. Be kind, always, all of those things. If you see something that needs to be done, get it done. If there's something out of place, put it away, all of those things. And we'll go over this more in class. Please be mentally engaged in rehearsal, okay? It's not enough to just be there and kind of be thinking about what's for lunch. We expect your students to be there and mentally there as well. Please take care of anything given to you. You'll be given a t-shirt this first week of school, and that becomes part of our uniform. There'll be times where we need the band to be in a more casual setting, and that will be your t-shirt. Please, again, as a teacher, I gauge what my classroom looks like based on body language and what students are doing. And so I encourage students to demonstrate a body language that is engaging and positive. This reflects on them throughout their whole life. When they go to a job interview, we all know that that's stuff they're looking for. So practice it now, students. If whoever's in front of you, whether it be me or a clinician or a section leader, be positive, be smiling, make eye contact, raise your hand, all of those things that we'll talk about. And this one's big, parents. If we have outside of class time rehearsals, these are like our dress rehearsals. My rehearsal times do not start when they say they start, if that makes sense. Your student should not be showing up at 3:15 if the practice starts at 3:15. They should be ready to play at that time. And I'll outline that a little bit more below. And then just be musical in all that you do. Be passionate, because that's why we do this, right? We love making great music, and that comes with passion. Try and find somebody that you want to lead and be that leader for them. All of these things we'll talk about with your kids. I give a quick, brief explanation of what the classes are. Again, you can see those. And then methods of communication. Okay, this is where parents, you stop your video and really pay attention. I expect you to sign up for cut time. If you are a student who's already been in cut time, a past student, you don't need to do anything other than make sure your information is up to date. And I will check that. It will be an assignment at the end of the week. So please make sure we've got your phone numbers, addresses, things like that in this cut time server. The boosters use it because the boosters cannot access things like Skyward. And to be honest, cut time is much more band friendly. It allows us to check out inventory to you. It allows us to have a place to put in your measurements if we do uniforms. It allows us to email the freshman flute player parents if we want to, or store music and all of these other things. It is very valuable to us as an organization. So we do ask that you sign up. Really crucial that you sign up both a student and at least one parent to that student. Sign up your student first, and then add as many adults with that parent or student as you want. Another nice thing is You can sign up a grandparent if they're the ones who are helping you take care of your children. So please, as many adults as you want can be connected to this student, but make sure somebody who is an adult is getting my emails, because after the first week of school or so, we start using cut time and cut time only to send out our announcements and emails. The instrumental music website has lots of tools and lots of ways to find additional resources. I'm not going to go there now and show you everything, but it's got our booster organization information. It's got our shop, which we'll talk more about later. All of these wonderful things. Please take advantage of it. I spent countless hours trying to build it, and I am not good at those things. So, and if there are any parents out there who want to help us maintain that, we have a tech person who's helping organize that. I would love the help, because again, honestly, that's not my, so I wouldn't say it's not my job, but it's not my profession. That's not what I do for a living. I figured out a lot of things about it, but I would love the help if that's something that interests you. Remind 101, parents, I encourage you, stop the video now, and I will stop this in class for students, but we are going to sign up for Remind. This is a little confusing. So if your student is going to be in symphonic band, maybe they're not going like currently sitting in that class because of the marching band scheduling, but they are a symphonic band member who auditioned in, have them sign up for symphonic band. Concert band, same thing. Marching band students, make sure you, if not have you already, sign up for the marching band Remind. If you have any questions, students, we're going to answer these in class, okay? But parents, I encourage you to join as well. It is not required. This will be for announcements that are quick and short, like don't forget your objectives due tonight, or the bus loads at this time, or don't forget our concert tomorrow, or things like that. It's not lengthy, long summaries of information. It's just to help the kids remember. Our calendar. Now I've highlighted it and made it super beautiful because I really, one, there's some new information for old parents, and two, the instrumental music calendar is great because once you download it and put it onto your Google account, and there is a way to make it so it shows up on your devices, and I have some resources on the website for that, but you can make it so it shows up and you have all of the information. I encourage you to use it for the Google account, not the file download, because if I change something in the Google Calendar, it won't necessarily change on the file download. And if you need help with that, our tech parents are willing to help you. But once you add the calendar to your phone and your device and you set up the reminders, you can do that for years, parents, and you don't have to even think twice about things as much. I've moved away from printing lengthy sheets, especially in this day and age, because one, that's more ways to share germs, and then two, things are so flexible right now that they really can change. And so I want to be able to give you more notice than handing and killing a million trees with a bunch of handouts. So the calendar is a useful tool. You can set it up so it reminds you of all the things. And I try to keep as much information on there, even like assemblies that the kids play at during the day if you're a parent and want to come watch. I try to keep that information on there for you. We also do have a Instagram and Facebook page that you can follow. I post lots of like fun publicity things there, like, oh my gosh, check out the marching band playing on the news. They are doing that on Monday, probably when you're seeing this. So anyway, it's mostly a social media, to promote what we do in our program. The useful tool is our Facebook parent group. If you're a Facebook user, if that's a platform you really like, I know a lot of us are that way, and we look at our Facebook sometimes more than our email. This is a great place for you to say, oh, hey, I forgot when the concert was. Can somebody help? Or I took a bunch of pictures at the concert. Here, parents, and we can share information. It's moderated by me and a few other parents, but really it's a place that I want it to be communal. We might post important updates there as well, but that's a great place to get to know other parents as well, and again, kind of build a community that way. Okay, getting down to the nitty gritty, attendance. So your students get 5 points a day for being in class. If they are late, they get 3. And I'll be pretty flexible these first few days, just because I know they're learning the new routes to the building. So don't stress too much for this first week, parents. So again, 5 for full points if they are prepared, if they have their music, they have their all their materials, and that includes some of the things that we're going to talk about. as well as anything that I might have asked them to do. So like, let's say if I said clarinets, I need you to go home and look at that, and I'll check it again on Thursday. That is a way to earn or lose participation points if students don't come prepared. Again, if they're late, they only get 3 out of the 5 points. And if they have an unexcused absence, they get 0 of the 5 points. So parents, if you're going to check them out for whatever reason, just make sure that you excuse them and take care of that on their end. So that way I know that it was a legitimate excuse for not being there. We all know that band is a highly communal activity. And if we have people missing a lot, it's difficult to do what we need to do. That being said, I know that this is a unique year. Please just keep communicating with me. An extra email saying, hey, we got quarantined because my husband, had somebody at work who had COVID. Fine, that's great. Just keep me informed and make sure you also tell the attendance office so they can mark your student as such. So that way us teachers know. So again, that's in class. Your students will get graded for being involved. If you're a student who needs to go on quarantine or is, not able to attend in person, there is a live stream where they can participate. We're going to kind of navigate that and see how it goes this year. So that will be an expectation unless there's, they're truly sick and they need to not be in class in any capacity. So again, if you're needing to quarantine just because there was an exposure, encourage your kids to Skype into class. Then they can still earn those points without having to do any additional makeup work. Please don't try and schedule things like doctor's visits and work or other things during our time. It's a communal activity and we suffer without your students there. And then going to outside of class. For normal concert bands and percussion ensemble, there are not tons of commitments this year. Pep band is not a required thing. That responsibility has been taken over by the marching band. That being said, we will have some things outside of your students' class time. It'll be either sectionals or some dress rehearsals or obviously concerts. These are required. Parents, we need you to look ahead with your students, look at their schedules, have the calendar side by side, and go through it with your kiddos, especially if they're in other sports or have a job or these other things. The expectation is that you're at these rehearsals. Most coaches I found, as long as we communicate, are happy to share kids. I am the same way. If there is a student who, is in lacrosse and they have a game the same time as one of our practices, I'm happy to let the student go, but I need to know about it and we need to communicate and we need to schedule it ahead of time. Concerts and festivals are mandatory. Performances are worth a lot of a student's grade. And again, parents sit down at the calendar and look and make sure any major vacations and things like that have not, been planned at the same time. And if they are, let me know ASAP. I have a great band mom who at the beginning of last year sat down and looked and said, oh my gosh, we scheduled a big, out of country thing at the same time as your festival, and we were able to coordinate, and it gives me as the performer and educator a chance to make sure the kids have the chance to be successful with that student missing. They might be the only one on their part at times, so we need to make sure we're covering our bases there. If something happens, again, try to avoid family outings and work during those times, but if like a family member passes very suddenly and you have to go out of town for a funeral, I will be understanding on a case-by-case basis. There will probably be some sort of makeup work involved. In the past, we've had students play their entire concert material for me or sometimes even the class. So it's not going to necessarily be excusable with no circumstances that they're held accountable to, but I will work with you, but they have to be valid reasons. Again, I have a job at McDonald's is not a reason to miss a concert. I'm happy to call up any, 20-year-old bosses that are not doing well with their scheduling. I'm happy to advocate for your kids that way because I know that sometimes it's a lot to balance for those youngsters. Okay, moving on. I'm not going to really take a lot of time to talk about the grading scale, but you can see it right here. Performances are worth a lot, participation's worth a lot, and then we have our playing objectives. Again, you can take the time to read through these and see kind of what they entail. But our playing objectives are like playing tests. They are going to be done both in person and virtually this year because of the nature of COVID. And the students actually old students should be pretty familiar because we've done videos since I got here and just kind of found a nice balance. Okay, so playing objectives are a big part of what we do. Please encourage your students to be prepared for them. We'll talk more about that on the Canvas expectations. Sectional rehearsals and sectionals and rehearsal notes. I encourage you, and there's actually a rehearsal notes spot provided to have your student be prepared for the stuff that we're working on. You know, I will put the chunks of music that we're going to be looking at that day. Encourage them to come with that part learned. It's not middle school anymore. We don't spoon feed every single part to your students. They're expected to be literate and work on their music on their own. And if they need help with that, please, that's what I'm here to do. If they don't understand what the expectation is, but your kids are expected to be working on their own and practicing. Sectionals are also another place where that happens. Section leaders will coordinate sectionals depending on the ensemble that they're in. There's different requirements for that. So we'll hear more about that in a coming email. Late assignments will not be accepted, and I will give like a drop dead date for that. Sorry for the name, that sounds a little morose, but anyway, there will be a date that students cannot turn anything in at all. And anything that is late will be considered only for half credit. So it is always better to submit things on time. Just like our concert dates can't change just because we're not as prepared as we would like to be, doesn't mean that we can move them around. Same thing with these assignments. That being said, your students can always resubmit the playing objectives. And I will talk more about that on the other video. But please know that it's not like they fail if they aren't 100% prepared. But please encourage them to be, because their life becomes a lot easier. Required supplies. I'm not going to walk you through every single thing, but they are required to have a functioning instrument. Parents, please help them maintain the instrument's well-being. If a kid comes to school with an instrument that's falling apart, it's really hard for them to be successful. I discourage going to random scary websites where it comes with gloves to buy an instrument. I'm happy to give recommendations. I have to be kind of discreet about what I recommend, but I want you to have a quality instrument. We also do have rentals, and we will get those started in the first couple of weeks of school. Again, normally it would be done at the open house, but we have some instruments available for rent. Supplies for instrument maintenance. This is where it becomes really crucial. Please, parents, go to the website, and I will be going over this in detail with your kids in class, but they are expected to have reeds, 3 of them. Yes, at least 3 at any one time. Oils, things like that, slide grease to take care of their instrument. I have limited resources on that. I'm trying to set up this year a way to purchase reeds and other things like that from the office. But that's still kind of in the works. It got put on the back burner because of all the other craziness that's been happening. So your students are expected to have the supplies for their instrument, and we will be doing checks for those. If there's ever an issue of financial inability to get these things, come talk to me. I have resources and ways to get those. Black binder. We need your students to have at least a 1-inch black binder. The black binder is for our performances, so we want them all to match and look nice. Please don't have your students deck them out with stickers. This is my replacement. Sometimes you get these big folders that hold the large music. I personally don't use original music because it doesn't always come back in the same shape. So that's why we use a black binder with 2 pencils. Pencils, the way we start our classes, we hold up a pencil at the beginning of class every single day, and that's how I take roll. So pencils are 100% necessary. I encourage highlighters and sheet protectors as well. A tuner metronome, you can find this for free anywhere online. There's free apps. I personally like the Tonal Energy app, but there are lots that we use in our classes. You can also buy an old school, parents, if like you have just a flip phone. There's easy to use tuner metronomes that you can pick up for $10 to $15 on Amazon. I'm happy to provide a recommendation. And we do have a class set of these, but I honestly don't know if I'm allowed to use them this year. That's one thing I'm checking on in the next few days. Their uniform. So when we do perform in formal settings, we wear concert black. This is black slacks, a black button-down shirt or blouse, black suit coat if you would like. It won't be something that's rented from the school this year. Black dress shoes and black socks. Please wear black socks, gentlemen. These are, and we'll go over this a few weeks before, or at least a month before the first concert, but it's a way for us to look uniform. Your students will get lots of public performances in high school, and we want to make sure they look very professional. It's actually a part of our evaluation when we go to festivals, that their students look like a professional performing ensemble as much as possible. So that's our goal with that. And if you ever have any questions, please reach out. I have the students provide their own only because I've been forced to wear certain uniforms before and they don't always fit our bodies super well. So I've kind of moved in that direction. Again, take time to look at these other uniforms as well. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it, but here's the fee breakdown. There's a class participation fee for every student in any performing class. It is a required fee. So please make sure you take care of it. There is a fee that is charged by the school called an activity fee. That is not the same thing. So please, 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 please take time with your students and make sure that that gets paid. That is our budget. That is what helps me cover everything for the whole school year. I also have a breakdown of other fees that you might possibly be charged for various things. So if you have any questions about that, please let me know. I'm not going to talk about this at this moment because there will actually be a video coming out, but please take some time to review the rules and what we expect out of our students in the in our spaces, what we do and how we carry ourselves, our travel policies, and even concert etiquette I provided for parents. Again, we will be seeing a more formality to concerts as you transition to high school. And you know, there's just nothing more sad than a really great recording interrupted by somebody's cell phone or a game that your younger child is playing. So please take note of these things. I don't do it to be a jerk. I do it because I want your kids to have a great experience and as accurate of an experience to what they could be moving on to post high school. Here's the COVID policies. I already went over this, but in case you want to review it, it is all here in the handbook for you. I don't discriminate and I don't allow my students to do so either on a lot of different things. I can let you read through that, but if you ever feel like there's something happening, please let me know. I value our citizenship a great deal. And just remember that the culture of this program goes a lot further than your average class. We are not just teaching your kids music. We're not just teaching them how to play their instrument. We are teaching them to be world-class citizens. And we want them to get these amazing experiences, but we need them to hold the standard of our community because the reality is they are representing our community now. And that all comes back to Brighton and the band program and myself and them as a whole. So please hold your students to that high standard, and I will continue to do so as well. This is the old part of the form. This is what I used to have them. Please fill out the Google part of the form, just as a friendly reminder. So again, that's the handbook, parents. Don't forget to sign up for cut time and remind. Again, this assignment asks for you to do those things. I encourage you to follow our social media. I encourage you to stay informed and just take the time to go over this assignment with your students in detail. Okay, whew, that was a lot of words. Let's continue moving on. So up next, I'm going to turn the time over to our booster parents. We pre-recorded a message for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull that up and allow you to watch some of that. Hold on. People in our program, these are our booster presidents, Jeanette and Eric Middlestat. They're going to take over for a little bit and just talk about Some of the things that our preschool organization does, some, wise words from parents to you, and then talk about our team shop. So I'm going to go ahead and screencast and, share what they're going to talk about. Go ahead.
Great. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. So, so we had a couple of things to talk to you about. One is, sometimes parents who have new kids coming into the program, it can all seem a little overwhelming. There's a lot of information and a lot of emails. And of course, you have new kids that are ninth graders. They seem so small compared to the kids they're in band with, the 12th graders. And so that can seem a little strange, but what we found was just what a great experience it was for our daughter, Ella. She's a senior now, but she's been in the program with Miss Mortensen now through all these years. And it's just such a wonderful community of kids in the band. Just the band kids are good kids. They're hardworking kids and serious students, and they work so hard at the music and making it really excellent. And they just support each other so well. It's just wonderful to see. The older kids are mentors for the younger kids, and even beyond this group, in the marching band world and at the competitions, all the different band groups root for each other and support each other. It just is a really special community, this music community. So it's just great to have your kids be part of it, and it's really been a terrific experience for our daughter. You want to try to stay connected. Like I said, the information can be overwhelming, but videos like this one that Ms. Mortensen does and other things on the website can really help you stay connected. And if you have questions, a lot of your answers will be there. And of course, if you have any questions, you can shoot us a note too, or catch us somewhere. We're happy to fill you in on how things sort of work. Really important to keep your cut time information up to date and use the Google Calendar. All the information's there, and Ms. Mortensen keeps it up to date. So you want to just find out where those points are, your cut time information, the Google Calendar on the website, all the information on the website, and it can kind of make it less overwhelming. And you can make sure you know what's going on all the time. So it is a lot of information. It is a big commitment being in these bands. They work hard, but to see how they progress through the year and how great the music is, just they really produce excellent music. The concerts end up just being so enjoyable because it's just quality stuff. So really great experience, and really the commitment and the time that goes into it. They're such a great product at the end. They really accomplish something and have that sense of accomplishment that's really worth doing. So just it's great that you're here, and we encourage you to stick with it. It's just a terrific program. We're going to go on now. Let's talk to you a little bit about the Booster Club. So you're all boosters. That's kind of our motto. Every parent is a booster. You all support your kids. You help them practice. You get them instruments. You get them to rehearsals. You do all those things to support the program, and it couldn't happen without you. But this year in particular, and now that Brighton is starting a marching band, there's a whole world of marching band work and we do that. We divided our boosters into committees. So Jeanette will tell you a little bit about the committee.
So a great way to get involved is to show up and join a committee. And we really appreciate everybody's help that comes. We have lots of different quizzes and chances to get involved. We have a food committee that feeds the kids during the conference. We have a music committee. We have a pits and props committee, music advocacy and fundraising committee, and a tech team. And just let us know if you're interested when you get the email from Cut Time.
hear me? All right, moving right along. So again, thank you, booster parents Jeanette and Eric Middlestat, for sharing all of that. I encourage you to go order any and as much of the swag as you want. We've got lots of fun things on there. Get involved in the boosters. They're a great group of people, and we need you. So moving right along then. I just wanted to thank you for taking time to go through this video. Don't forget that the handbook assignment is coming due at the end of the week. So please, please, please go through that with your students and get that in. Please ask any questions, get signed up for cut time, sign up for your remind. Again, in a normal year, we would have had you grab a t-shirt and get help with those things. Go over some of the orders and instrument rentals, but we'll just take it as it comes this year. So looking forward to a great year with you, Bengals. I hope you had a great time, and I'll see you in class as well as around at concerts, I'm sure. Bye.